Hi, welcome back to my channel. So I thought that it was about time to do another readathon. So I've done one 24-hour readathon, and I've done another video where I kind of timed what I read, and it turned out to be about like 8 hours. This is something that I like to try and do like once a month. So far I've done it twice, so I think I had one already for July. And so this one is going to be, I'm filming this in, oh, it is August. So this one's going to be posted this month at some point. But I want to try and do these readathons differently every time. And this time I'm going to use a random number generator. Now, instead of doing like 1 to 24, I'm going to do minimum 8 hours to the max of 24. So I'm going to do a minimum of 8. Okay, 24. Okay. Did it do it? 13. Not bad. Okay. So this readathon is going to be for 13 hours. And I forgot to mention that I'm only going to be using physical books. So I don't know if you can see them. But these are the physical books that I would like to read. The very first book that I'm more than likely going to read. This is a book that was sent to me from HarperCollins. This is Taste Like Shakkar by Nisha Sharma. I think this is kind of like a follow-up to Dating Dr. Dill, but like not the same characters. But I'm guessing like same series, same world, something like that. But I want to try and read it before it's my turn to do the book tour, because that's why I was sent this, to participate in that. This is my main priority. 4 are library books. Fraud Squad, Girls Like Girls by Haley Kiyoko, 5 Survive by Holly Jackson, and The Witchery by S. Isabel. And then I just got this one today. It was sent, I forgot the publisher. Oh, Forever Publishing. I was sent an art copy of Stars in Your Eyes by Kason Callender. This is the same author that wrote Felix Ever After. I haven't actually read that yet. I was going to get it from the library, but I keep putting it off. This is also an option. I'm only going to be putting my timer on when I'm reading. It's currently 2:50. I actually have to be somewhere for 4 o'clock. Enough talking. Let's get to it. Okay, are y'all ready for all my excuses? So yesterday, I was only able to read 10 minutes of this. Actually, I think a little less than 10 minutes. Maybe, anyway. So right after I filmed the intro to this, I had to get dressed for the event. And then I didn't get back until 8. It is currently 6:36. And I'm gonna restart the timer. Well, not restart it, but press start. And I'm at 12:43, 44th. So now I say this a lot in other videos, but I'm a morning reader. So because I'm up early, hopefully I can read for about 2 hours and get through some more of this. So I was able to read yesterday 23 pages. I'm on chapter 2, so I was able to read in those 23 pages the prologue and chapter 1. And I'm already really loving the banter between them. So quickly, Bobby is the woman. She is a wedding planner, and I love books that revolve, like the whole plot revolves around a wedding. And Bunty, is that Bunty? I don't think his first name is Bunty. It's something, oh, it's Benjamin, but they call him Bunty. Bunty is a chef, so they're going to be working hand in hand. So I'm assuming there's going to be, a little bit of forced proximity. So we're going to continue. I'm back. So this is the same day as the clip from this morning. So I have 9 hours, 24 minutes, and 51 seconds left of my 13-hour timer. I already calculated because I can't tell how many hours it's been from that, so I had to calculate it. So I finished Taste Like Shakkar, I think that's how you pronounce it, in 3 hours, 35 minutes, and 9 seconds exactly. There is a little bit of enemies to lovers. Technically, the enemies is one-sided because something happened at the very beginning. They were actually together. She pulled him to the side because she wanted him to work with her. At the time, he didn't want to help with their best friend's wedding. And he ends up making this comment that he's not attracted to her. And she is big. And she thought, oh my gosh, he's saying that because I'm fat and he doesn't like me because of that. And he caught on to what she was thinking. He's like, no, that's not why, but that's what she assumed, and she kind of took it that way. So there's like this hatred, but again, it's one-sided. They do resolve it. So I think it started off really well. I loved the banter. However, they get together very quick. And like, I mean, almost to the point where when they get together, it's kind of like, oh, what are we gonna be doing in the other half? Because they get together, I think, at like the halfway mark or a little bit before the halfway mark. So we still had a good chunk of them like being together. It actually turned into long distance, kind of, not really. He owns a bunch of restaurants, but his dad's like business and stuff is all the way on the West Coast. And Bobby and like her friends, like all their friends, family, they're all on the East Coast. I think specifically New Jersey. And so he travels like back and forth, so he's there for weeks. And so there's lots of texting going on. So it's kind of, you know, long distance. The spice was good. Was not expecting what was it? Like bondage. It was good. Normally, again, I've said this before, I'll say it again, I'm not a fan of spicy cartoon covered books, but I totally forgot. She be writing. Okay, she be writing. Dating Dr. Dill was the exact same. So there is a little mystery in this. I actually didn't even know that because I did not read the synopsis. The synopsis, that's too long. That I wasn't reading that. I'm sorry. So I was a bit shocked when this mystery was going on. Things start to happen and we find out that there's someone that is trying to sabotage the wedding. I had a couple of guests. I was wrong about them. I enjoyed the little mystery. I actually would have even preferred that it kind of went the route as Dow A for Aunties, where it was more of a cozy mystery with a little romance. This was more like 95% romance, you know, 5% little mystery. But I would have preferred more mystery than the romance, even though the romance, or 50-50. 50-50 would have been fine as well. With that being said, I'm going to give this book a 4.25. So change of plans, actually. I never actually said what book I was going to read next. At least I don't think so. You may not notice, but I switched out one of the books. I got an email. That's too much information. Long story short, one of my other books from the library was ready to go pick up. And so I decided to switch out Fraud Squad with Kismet by Amina Akhtar. I don't think I want to read the Fraud Squad as a physical book, just because again it has a very low rating on Goodreads, and normally, especially when it comes to BIPOC books, I don't even really look at the rating because I'm not feeling it, especially if it's traditionally published, because I know that there's going to be more of an influx of readers. And in my opinion, BIPOC books in general are always judged more harshly. Take it how you want. So I normally don't really pay attention to the rating. So I'm going to read this one instead. This also has a low rating as well. Pretty sure this is also South Asian. This could also have a lowish rating because it's a thriller. It says it right there. A thriller. So I don't really know much about it besides I know it involves murder, and I love the cover. But also, when I was reading kind of like the synopsis, it reminded me of that show on Hulu. It's called 9 Perfect Strangers. I've never seen it. I plan on watching it. So I can't say for sure, but just by looking at previews of that show, that's kind of what this is reminding me of. And this is gonna be next. Oops. Okay guys, long time no see. For you was the last clip. For me, I don't know. Okay, so I did finish Kismet, and it took me 3 hours and 43 minutes and 28 seconds. I have 5 hours and 41 minutes left. I think I subtracted correctly. I am giving this a 1 star. I hate to do that. I just didn't like it. Let me just say, you know what it felt like? It felt like the author was trying to put white readers in BIPOC people's shoes. That's kind of what it felt like. So, you know, there's a discussion that happens sometimes where people say, you know, there are 2 different kinds of BIPOC authors. There are some that write with the white audience in mind, and they explain all kinds of things that takes away from the book sometimes. That person can go look that up. You know what I mean? And then there are some that they just write. It is what it is. And this one fell into her, it felt like she was teaching white people or white readers, whoever, what it's like to be a BIPOC person. Racism, microaggressions, all throughout the book. Oh, and let me show you an example. I bookmarked 2 spots, but we're just going to talk about this one. So the main character is Pakistani, and she's the only POC in this book with the exception of 2 girls, 2 twins, Brit and Star. They're mixed. They're mixed with white, but I don't remember like the other half. Are they black? Are they just a different kind of POC? I don't know. It didn't say. We have Ronnie, and she's the FMC in here. And so her real name is actually Rania, but she doesn't like to go by Rania because her aunt was very abusive to her and obviously called her by her real name, and she doesn't like to go by that anymore, so she goes by Ronnie. But there's a white woman in here who is like, oh, no. Rania is a pretty name. I don't remember how she found out that her name was Rania. But she's like, we're going to call you that because it's a pretty name. Like, why would you not want to be called that? And Marley, who is the mentor of Ronnie, Marley is who Ronnie went live with when they moved to Arizona. She says, I owe you big time for that. That's Marley. I'm sorry, I didn't realize how into the whole Indian thing she is. The other white woman in here is obsessed with like Indian culture, and Ronnie was trying to tell her I'm not Indian, but that's a whole nother thing. But Marley then says, but thank you, you handled it well. That's where it should have ended. Any and every BIPOC person knows what that means. You know what I mean? And I'm sure it doesn't take that much to know, like, even if you're not BIPOC, I mean, we should know what that means. But she goes on to explain, and she says, handled it well was code for not making a scene. You always knew you handled it well when someone white applauded you. Ronnie wanted to scream at Lorraine, call her racist, but being uncivil was worse than calling someone racist. There's so many scenes in here where it's further explained what that white person was trying to say or trying to do. Like, we know. You know what I mean? And it just feels like the only people who might not know would be white readers. And it's like, it almost feels like she's trying to teach them or to kind of open their eyes and see. Because I feel like, if anything, this is a more so not for the openly racist white people. I think this is more so to educate. Some of the scenes were more so to educate and open the eyes of the white people that are allies, but don't think that deep down, like, they do have some, you know, microaggressions, you know, some of these thoughts or whatnot. That's kind of how it felt. And I hate to give it a 1 star because I looked at some of the 1 stars on Goodreads, and it was like white readers not liking the racism that was in it. That's definitely not why I'm giving it 1 star. So I hate that I'm kind of being grouped in with them, because that's not why I'm giving it a 1. I just felt like I was so confused, especially once we got towards the end. Like, I need a cheat sheet about this. Like, I need to go look up some videos to see what people thought about this, because I think it was too smart for me. I think that's what it was. This book was just too smart. Yeah. This video, this clip is going to be pretty short because I'm not going to actually get into this book. Y'all don't want me to. But I'm going to get into it, I think, once I finish with the video. It's currently 11:28 and I want to have another book picked out for tomorrow morning. Tomorrow's Saturday. I have 3 hours left, so this next book is more than likely going to be the last book. So Girls Like Girls, the only thing I will say right now is that it took me 2 hours, 19 minutes, and 48 seconds exactly. I subtracted it already. Oh, wait. I actually want to read Stars in Your Eyes by Kason Calendar, but I want to pick a book from my owned stack, and I want to give my jar a chance. Depending on what it is, I may read it, I may not. It just depends. So, y'all can't see it. What is that? Ooh. Okay, so let me quickly grab it. It's the beautiful. Okay, so you can't see it. It's right there. What is this? Okay, so these are my two options. The Beautiful by Renee Ahdieh, or my art copy provided by Forever Publishing of Stars in Your Eyes. Two completely different books. Vampires and MM, Contemporary. Contemporary MM? Contemporary. Now this actually doesn't come out, I think, until October, so I have time, but I'm feeling it. So I may read like the first chapter of both of them. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Hi. So I'm back. That means this video is done. I might sound a little weird because I just woke up from a nap. Today's Monday. I don't know what I'm looking at. But I took today off. So we're actually gonna jump into Girls Like Girls first, because if I remember correctly, I said that I would talk about it later. So I have no phone. I'll be back. So the reason I need my phone is because I don't remember what I gave it. Okay, so I ended up giving this a 1 star. However, I think I'm like rounding it up. Well, I rounded it down to a 1, but I think I said like a 1.5 or a 1.75, something like that. It just wasn't for me. So this is YA. I don't even want to get into what it's about, because I don't even know if I said that already. I'm gonna say it real quick. So we have a girl named Coley. Coley moves to this town and she's staying with her dad. Yeah, let me say that because that's one of the only things I liked. So she moves to this town with her dad and she is gay. And right off the bat, you know, she meets these kids and she kind of hangs out with them. I wish I was like that. I wish I made friends that fast. Which really there was only like one guy that she didn't, or two, one guy and one girl out of that friend group that she didn't really get along with. But she took a liking to Sonia and she liked her, and it's kind of just like her journey and whatnot. You know, it's like a coming of age story. It just wasn't for me. So this is YA, and I read tons of YA. I'm not YA age, right? Because YA, like in the book world, is like 12 to 17. This is the first time that a YA book actually read like YA. Most of the YA that I read for anyone, like a 30-year-old could read it. I'm 24. But this kind of felt like for 14 to 15-year-olds. It really felt young, and I just wasn't into it. And that's my first time reading a YA that made me feel old. Now, this book did take place in 2006. I was 6 and 7. It just depends on the time of year. If it was before June, I was 6. If it was after June, I was 7. So it actually did read like it was old like that. I will say that. I only have 12 minutes on my SD card. But anyways, so I just didn't like it. It read really young. I didn't like the characters. I didn't even really like our main character. I already forgot her name. Coley. Didn't like Coley. I didn't like Sonia. I especially, why is it like that? I especially didn't like them together. The only thing that I like that's maybe it's gonna bring it like to a 1.5. I did like that she ended up fixing her relationship with her dad. She didn't really have one with him. That's exactly why I was scared to read this book, because I didn't think that I would like it. I didn't. But I guess I'm glad that I stuck with it. I haven't really been DNFing, which honestly, I'm a DNFer, but I will say I don't like DNFing physical books because that's different. I'm taking my time out because physical books do take me a little longer than ebooks, and it's like I'm taking my time out of my day to flip these pages. You'll get through the whole thing. And I have a thing that I can't DNF. Well, if I DNF, I can't rate the book. I do not put a rating on Goodreads. I click on no rating. I can't rate it because I didn't finish it. So if I especially don't really like a book, I do kind of like to force myself to finish so that I can kind of write a negative review, or at least to write my thoughts out, and actually give it a rating. Sometimes a book ends up being a 2. I said I was gonna read like one chapter of this, one chapter of that. I didn't. I only read this because I'm like, let me just read it. This has been on my shelf for forever now. It's probably 2 years. What did I give this? I think I gave this a 3. And that may not sound bad, but I will say this. 3-star to me, my kind of 3-star is worse than a 1-star. Now, there are 2 different kinds of 3 stars that I give. There are 3 stars that are closer to a 4, but my 3 stars that are closer to a 2 to me are worse than my 1 stars, because my 1 star, I hated it. I didn't like it. My 3 stars that's closer to a 2, I don't know how to feel, and I don't like not knowing how to feel. It's a slow burn. It's long, but it reads really fast. I think that's the only reason why I'm giving it a 3, because even though I found myself like I didn't like it, but I didn't hate it either, I read it really fast, which is crazy because the story itself is not fast. It's a slow burn, like it's very slow. So we have a girl who is from Paris. She boats, I don't know, voyages to New Orleans. We have a good portion of this in French. I speak French, so that was actually pretty fun. That's what I majored in, but I can't tell you the last time I spoke it, so it was really nice like revisiting it in this book. I mean, every chapter had, I don't know, 20 lines of some things. Sometimes they did give like the translation, but not all the time, and it was actually really fun. But anyways, that's actually what I looked forward to in this book. So that is contributing to my 3-star. But she boats or whatever with some other girls, and they're gonna stay at this convent. Is that how you say that? Convent? I think that's what it is, with the nuns. And while she's there, she is making a dress for a masquerade ball for this woman named Odette. And Odette and Sebastian is the main guy. He's actually 19. She's 17. I thought he was old because I thought he was a vampire. Because that's what it says. It's not a spoiler. That's what it says. It's true. Vampires are back and they're more seductive than ever. I think that's misleading, especially on this book, because that's not really what happened in here. There are vampires. There was a good twist at the end, but anyways, while she's with Sebastian, these girls are being killed. I don't remember who the first girl was, but the second girl was actually found in Sebastian's like basement or something, where his uncle owned something, or his place, I don't know. They were found in the basement somewhere. And these people, now after the two girls, I think everyone else after that, it's just people that are connected to either Sebastian or, what's her name? Celine Rousseau. People connected to them both or to him are being killed. So what I recommend, I don't know. This is technically like paranormal. I think I saw people say that this is fantasy. Technically, is it fantasy because it has mythical creatures? Sure. But I would say specifically it's paranormal. It wasn't for me. This took me, in the 3 hours that were left, I read 340 pages. And I ended up just staying up. I took my timer off, obviously, because it went off. But I read the last, how much was that? 85 pages after, and that took maybe an hour, a little more than an hour. But I wanted to go ahead and just finish it before I came on. But as far as like for this video goes, the 3 hours, 21 minutes left, I read the first 340 of this. I'm not surprised. 3 hours, that sounds about right for me. 300-ish pages, 3 hours. I would say a 400-page book is about 4 hours for me. So I would say like about 100 pages each hour. I hope these are all the books that I read. By the way, this video took me a week and 2 days. I started this video on a Friday, I think it was like August 4th. Ended up finishing it technically yesterday. I'm just filming it today. In 13 hours, I was able to read all of Taste Like Shakkar. This is an ARC, by the way. Well, this was sent to me from HarperCollins, but I actually did get an ARC, a NetGalley ARC. I don't think I ever mentioned that, but that's what I mean by this was an ARC. I gave this probably a 4.25. And then my library books, Kismet, I think I gave this a 1 star. Girls Like Girls, I gave this a 1 star, but I'm gonna probably give it like a 1.5. And then my last book, which was my physical book, like my owned book, The Beautiful, which I gave a 3 star. I thought August was gonna be a good month for me. It seems like August might be a good month quantity wise, which I normally don't care about, and I don't. Not that I normally don't. I don't care about that. I care about quality. It seems like I'm not gonna have a good month quality wise. So yes, that's it for today. I will see you technically next month with another readathon, but I'll see you next week with another video. Bye. Okay, so I don't know if I ever did my thumbnail, so very quickly, I only have 2 minutes left.